Don't you hate wrestling with predictability? The garbage man, the sexy boy, boring ass TV? How did I get to work in here? Somebody tell me, please. The WWF is confusing to me. With Vince as mean as you've ever seen. I told old Patterson I'm done here in June. When a sudden voice inside me whispered, Vinny, don't sell your dream so soon. And everywhere I look, there's a Ted with a hand to hold on to. And everywhere I look, there's a place and a promotion who needs you. And it's there you'll book when you're lost out there and you're all alone. And WCW's waiting to carry you home. It's there you'll book. And it's there I'll book. A doobity-ba-ba-ba, headed to Atlanta and listen to this podcast. It's all right, even though it fucking makes fun of everything I've ever done. Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to episode 53. Wow, 53 of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW. Joining me as always is the backbone of the backbone himself, Logjam Quaslin. Logan, how are you doing this evening?
I have a lot of dedication in my heart for this Backbone Wrestling feed and the listeners that we have. So work has been absolute hell this week. So they need to be very happy that I'm here tonight, because I very well couldn't be. But I'm so dedicated to this feed, dedicated to you, and dedicated to our fans. So here I am.
I appreciate that, Logan. Like I said, you are the backbone. It's going to be interesting to see what happens come December. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. As always, I'm always worried I'm going to wake up one day to a message sent from you where you're like, I quit. And I'll be like,
I quit.
Pretty much. And I'll be like, I get it. And then I have to get fucking Matt and Souza to fucking help me finish this out. So
I'm sure Groening would help you finish it as well.
Nah, Groening's a listener. Groening's our only fan.
That's true. Yeah, we need him as a fan.
We need someone to listen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if he was on, he might not actually listen. I get that.
Yeah. So we need someone to listen. But yeah, we're on the 619 Nitro tonight. And before we jump in, Logan, big news. Vince Russo has quit WCW.
If only permanently.
Yeah, he quit WCW for a week. I know this breaks my own rules that I created, but he's literally back after a week. Probably writes the Thunder, but it's noticeable that Russo's not here. It is very noticeable that Russo is not here.
I found myself watching this and I was like, am I enjoying this? What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And it makes all the more sense. So yeah, not a bad show. We'll get into it, but definitely a noticeable change.
So Russo's throwing a tantrum. That's why, basically what it boils down to. I don't really know
what was going on with I'm trying to look it up real quick with Bischoff, because he doesn't make an appearance on the show. So like it's very interesting to see like what happens, but he quits literally for a week. He's already back, like as we'll see, because it gets zany as hell, guys. But yeah, just very interesting. I can't believe, like, I mean, that just says the state of WCW at this time, Logan, where it's like, you know what, fuck you, I quit. Which, to be honest, that might happen if Sean ever pisses me off, where I'd just like, man, fuck you, I quit. And then like I'm still recording the podcast the next day. So you know, just a little angry, and then we go from there. But yeah, this episode's very good. We start off, we're in Billings, Montana, and the crowd is hot all night, unlike some of the dead crowds we've seen before. With especially on this show, because they're it's pretty good. We see highlights of Nash and Russo on Thunder, which were some of the worst shit I've ever seen, as we talked about before. It was like a shitty Jason movie where Nash is just hamming it up, saying who's here's Johnny and everything, and he's hunting after Russo. It was Russo, very aesthetic, very big, but yeah. So he quit. All right. So here's the story. Per the June 26, 2000 Wrestling Observer. And what many people are reading many different ways, Vince Russo quit his position as television writer for WCW on 6/15. It was largely believed in the company that he would return, so publicly it was stated that he was taking a few days off due to a concussion. Russo, who didn't return calls to just about everyone in the company wanting to hear his side of things, was scheduled for a meeting this week after press time with Brad Siegel regarding his future in the company. Russo quit largely over a disagreement with management, in particular Eric Bischoff, who wanted to bring Kimberly, Elizabeth, and Lex Luger back to television. Russo felt all had quit rather than go along with the scripts. Kimberly and Elizabeth for a variety of reasons having to do with the storyline and treatment, but ultimately because they didn't want to take bumps as participants in wrestling matches because they weren't trained as wrestlers. While most feel these are unnecessary as the grand scheme of things, and Elizabeth, whose rumored salary is in excess of $300,000 per year, give me that job, Logan, was ridiculously overpaid and was living with the fact she was a big deal in wrestling a decade ago, but it long outlived whatever nostalgia value she brought to the company. The fact that she didn't sign a contract to be a participant in matches. Kimberly was generally not liked backstage, with people thinking she was turning to the next Sable, but others felt her acting was good by the standards of a wrestling show. Jesus Christ, our standards were in the toilet. She was given lots of TV time, and she does have a great look. Luger complained repeatedly about how he was being used, and eventually had a blow up last week and refused to do an angle Russo had scheduled for him, which is interesting, Logan, because we hadn't seen him back in a while. But yeah, looks like everyone thought Russo would return most of the week. Terry Taylor, Bill Banks, and Ed Ferrara wrote Nitro and Thunder with some outside help, and were given the parameters not make any drastic changes or new angles because Russo would be back in the role. Yeah, it's just nothing going on. And I love how people was like, oh, Nitro was stronger. And they said the only real storyline and angle, which we'll get to, was a certain someone quitting and going back to their name. But yeah, we'll go over this. But yeah, that was the only big thing that's happened, and a couple debuts, which we really liked, and hopefully these people stick around when Russo comes back in a week. But it looks like we're on a Russo-less week, 2 month of television of podcast, Logan. So I can't wait to get to that. But yeah, Russo just having a hissy fit, which, you know, if you read the backstage stuff of TNA, he did that a lot. I mean, this man has an MO. It's really embarrassing because I read Beyond Nitro, and for some reason, Nitro was amazing book. Beyond Nitro pales in comparison. Not good. I think he had already got everything off, all the meat off the bone with the first book. But it's so much of Russo cold calling Vince McMahon, and it was just pathetic, if I'm being completely honest. He's like, here's what you could do better, and then it's it's basically him trying to get a job, and it's just your shit stopped working when you left WWF in 1999. It sure as fuck isn't working in 2000, as we're seeing, Logan. it sure as shit wasn't going to work in 2020, 2019 era. And we're seeing it in Impact right now. Check it out every other Thursday with Highway to the Impact Zone. But what's your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, it just seems like a real clusterfuck. I mean, the idea of Bischoff and Russo working together. I mean, obviously we have hindsight as well, which lends credence to the fact that they would never work out together because they fucking can't stand each other current day. But it just didn't seem like they really gelled in the first place. So, because if you notice, a lot of the time they're real kind of separate, even when they are both there. Bischoff has his stuff, Russo kind of has his stuff, so they're not really together a lot. So you can tell that there's probably a little heat or a little tension. If he left due to the fact that Bischoff wanted Kim and Liz, and package is here or there, but if that's all, if that's what he was mad about, I kind of support him in that one because I don't want either of them back on my television screen either. Because Liz was, she wasn't great, or she wasn't terrible when she was there, but she's a character that doesn't necessarily need to exist. And Kim, of course, we've hated since that happened. So I'm on his side on that one, but he didn't need to bail and throw a hissy fit and leave. But the show tonight definitely lends credence to the idea that he doesn't know what he's doing. And the name of this podcast, of course, makes a lot more sense with an episode like this, because clearly a good show can be put on, or a better show, I should say. I won't say it was all time or anything like that, but the company is capable of having a good show, despite the fact that he thinks he's a genius and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, he was not missed on this episode. I know you have some problems with the cat, which we'll get into, but this was a really refreshing episode of Nitro, Logan. So let's dive into it. As I said, we went off on a tangent at the start, but I wanted you guys to know. We see how, like I said, and then Demon and Vampiro, which is a storyline I wish they would have ended tonight. The triple threat reuniting, Daphne, David, and Miss Hancock nonsense, and we see that Steiner Recliner is banned, and we actually see that Steiner put it on Russo after Thunder, and that's why he is gone tonight. We're live in Billings, Montana. Two limos pull up. One is for the Cat, the other is for Jeff and Mike Awesome. Cat says Russo is hurt and not here. He said Eric is closing a big deal in LA and Goldberg is on the way. I love Goldberg. This motherfucker never shows up for time for work.
That's a real underrated thing in wrestling throughout the years. Like the fact that the main eventers can just kind of show up whenever they want to. That's the thing that I've always kind of never understood, because like Roman nowadays can kind of just show up whenever he wants. Like I know it's fake and it's a TV show and all that, but it's just
sorry, Grooney. I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
I know it. I just think it's funny that some certain people can kind of just show up whenever the fuck they want. It's just funny to me.
Yep. It's just like, fuck you. None of you matter. So here you go. But yeah, so Cat, like I said, Jeff says Cat has to handle business tonight. Then a random member of R&B security, who was someone I did not know. Logan probably is like, he's actually the stagehand for TNA. But nothing on that, Logan?
No, that was James Storm that came up and talked to him.
It was? He looked,
yeah.
Oh my God. He looks better with fucking mustache and goatee lens. So I was,
yeah. He definitely looked like he was about 14.
He looks like a bag of shit. But R&B security runs up, obviously James Storm, and he runs up to Cat and says we have problems in the ring. And I don't know, Logan. This kind of made me want to turn it off as much as we talked about how good the episode was. It didn't start off good because we see no talent Horace Hogan is sitting in the ring holding a bat. My note here says, the fuck are we doing? And then my note also says nothing says ratings like Horace Hogan. We get an intro. Horace is still in the ring waiting for someone. He grabs a mic and says last week he saw a guy destroy someone who built this business, my uncle, Hollywood Hogan. Horace says we stick up for family. Despite Horace literally a month ago beating the shit out of his uncle, but whatever. I'm supposed to fucking forget that, I guess.
Absolutely. Why would you remember that?
Yeah, short term. I guess he thought everyone had amnesia. But he says, Goldberg, you showed everyone last week you're on it for nothing but the money. Horace says he's in it for family honor and revenge, and he says he wants Goldberg in the ring and he wants to be next. Cat's music hits, and we see highlights like Goldberg taking out Hogan last week. Cat says you lost your mind, says Goldberg is too big to fight Horace, and Goldberg will kill your ass. Where's the lie? Cat says you can sit in the ring the whole night, I don't care. And then it says, ask for the crowd.
Just an incredibly
please have your
stupid thing to say.
Yeah, I know. But, back to back. And Cat says, may I have please attention? And Lynn tells the crowd to shut the hell up. And Cat says, because of Scott Steiner, last week he hurt Vince Russo. And then Cat says, no outside interference tonight in matches, which that's how I was like, oh, Russo's definitely not writing. Cat says, if you bring your happy ass out here and interfere, I'm going to find you and have you work at my dojo. Cat says he has Scott Hall's contract with him tonight and says no one can do anything to him about him tonight. Wolfpack music hits. Out comes Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, and Madeja. Shakira is gone. I think she got fired, Logan, for asking for more money.
I think she got fired because she couldn't babysit baby Nash or whatever that kid's name was.
Well, Noah, I think. I don't know. It was his
Hunter.
nephew. He's never fucking seen again. Hunter, you're right. So Nash says, after last week, Scotty and me are in a bad mood. Seems to me like you made yourself a dream maker tonight. Tony says, well, it's booking on the fly. Nash says, make some dreams tonight. Give Horace a match with Hogan. And Cat says no. Nash steps towards him and Cat gives him the match. Nash says, you'll do what I'll tell you, or I can make this a real long night for you. Scott gets on the mic, and as you know, every time Scott gets on the mic, I do this verbatim. He says, Cat, you standing out here by yourself because last week I put Vince Russo in the Steiner recliner and broke his freaking neck. Says he's been searching all day in the building looking for Eric Bischoff, but I can't find him. So since you standing up for Russo, it'll be me and you in the ring tonight. Cat says he looks too pretty to wrestle tonight. They take another step closer, but Cat says, you don't want me, but he gives Scott Jeff Jarrett for the title tonight. Scott says, all right, you got it. Wherever the fuck he talks. Kevin then says, Cat, we aren't done yet. And he says, you made Horace and Scotty happy. He says that you got Scott Hall's contract tonight, me and you for the contract. They take another step closer to Cat, and he gets on his knees and finally agrees. Kevin then says, Cat, you're doing a hell of a job for a commissioner, and says, after I bust your back, that's all you're going to be able to do. And Nash acts like he's going to go after him again, but Cat runs through the crowd. Logan, a hot start to the night. Thank God Horace is out of the fucking ring. But yeah, Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner being our main baby faces is actually something I can get behind.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely a strong couple of guys to, lead the face side and be the kind of strongholds in that spot. And obviously, I think you kind of alluded to it, but I think we might have another guy that gets added on. Maybe not to their little team, but he gets added as a kind of part of the new face side that's probably going to fight against the upper management and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, when the show opened with Horace in the ring, I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good because they're going to focus way too much time on him. But they got him in and out pretty quick. Obviously, he has a match later on, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, Cat comes out, pretty much is a complete bitch and does whatever Nash and Steiner ask him to do. But yeah, he's just, something about him. He annoys the shit out of me, and I know he's supposed to, but it's in like a channel changing kind of direction for some reason for me. So I may be wrong.
Logan, you're wrong on this one. He always makes me laugh. He's always able to be the butt of the joke. Maybe it's because there's so many other people that I don't enjoy, like Shakira. Yeah. I mean, Tigress, not Shakira. I miss you, but I miss you, Shakira. You were fine as fuck. Tigress is great, but she's just dumb. Kimberly's gone, so that's cool.
Yeah, I would rather listen to him than Kim, but he's just so featured, and I just think he sucks. So I don't know. that's just me, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty hot start. I mean, he was overused tonight. I will say that, Logan. But it's like I feel like they were like having to scramble, and luckily they had made the cat like the lackey of Bischoff and Russo, so they kind of looked into this.
Yeah.
So that works pretty well. Um, so we have 3 matches for tonight. Tony talks about the matches again with Scott and Mark Madden. Tony then says it's official. At Bash at the Beach will be Hollywood Hogan versus Jeff Jarrett. I don't think anything newsworthy comes out of that. And we go backstage, and the main event, which is the perfect event. My apologies, which is Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Hare. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sean Stasiak are in the video truck and says, play this video so we can attack Tank and Rick when they aren't looking like they did to us last week. But we see Rick and Tank watching them. And they attack Chuck and Sean when they leave the video truck. Rick says, it's live, jabronis, as they're beating the ever-loving piss out of them. So just another thing showing how dumb the perfect event is.
Yeah, just absolutely morons. It makes me so angry every time they talk about Sean Stasiak because they call him perfection, but it's supposed to be perfection, like perfection Stasiak. Yeah. And I don't quite think that they quite explained that one to Tony Schiavone and the rest of the commentary very well. So, but yeah, that always makes me angry.
Yeah, does not, Logan, does not. So, yeah, definitely doesn't. So, we get a commercial break. Jeff comes in the Cat's office and says, what are you, crazy? And Cat says he's going to take care of everything. He throws a special guest ref shirt at Mike Awesome and says he's the ref. R&B security, who was it, Logan? Was it James Storm again?
No, I didn't pay attention this time. The only reason I knew it was James Storm is because he talked.
Okay.
And I just happened to look at his face. And that's
all right. This random member comes out and says everything is falling apart, says we need a match in the ring. Kat says, go get the 3 Spice Girls. They need to work, which feel so dumb that I was like, I know he's talking about 3 count. The guy says, you mean 3 count? And he says, yeah, 3 count. Says, go get him and put him in the ring. And then the Cat's looking through the contracts, and he finds his contracts and says, damn, I need a raise, which made me laugh.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And then we cut to the ring, and we see 3 count in the ring, and they are jumped by the Young Dragons, which before we get to this, Tony starts talking like the Young Dragons like we had fucking seen them before. Logan, you watched the 2 months where...
Nope.
Yep, that's what I thought. And they're not on Thunder because we're watching that, and I'm not going to bring myself to watch Saturday Night. What am I, Matt Souza? So
Saturday, those episodes of Saturday Night coming to YouTube Roulette near you.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, oh my god. So yeah, but the Young Dragons, which is Kaz Hayashi, Jamie's son, and I think it's Jimmy Wang Yang, right?
Yeah, Yang is
Yang.
Yang, yeah.
But he's known as Jimmy Wang Yang.
But yeah, it's Jimmy Wang Yang, Kaz Hayashi, and Jamie Noble, basically. But he's Jamie's son, obviously, with the mask.
11-year-old Scott had his mind blown when he found out Jamie's son was Jamie Noble when he took his mask off in like December, by the way, guys. I was not smart, and neither I'm still not smart. But so we got match 1, and this is a banger, Logan. This kind of brought back Nitros of old. With we started off with a hot cruiserweight match. It's a 6-man tag of the Young Dragons versus 3 count. The Dragons beat down 3 count to start. Kaz with an awesome spin kick to Shannon Moore to kick it off. Shannon's able to get back on top, and Shane and Shannon hit a double net breaker on Kaz. We get a tag to Evan, and he hits a missile drop kick to Kaz. Evan throws Kaz in the air and like just lets him fall to the ground. I don't even know what that's called, but he tags to Shane. Shane then hits a super sunset flip from the top rope and gets a 2. Shane then hits a gut wrench suplex. We get a tag to Shannon, and they continue beating down Kaz. Shannon misses a dive in the corner, and Kaz actually hits a high knee, and then he tags to Yang, and Yang beats down all 3 members of 3 count and almost hits the ref because he was in the zone, which I liked. Shannon Moore's able to get a sleeper hold, and he drops Yang. Then Jamie's son comes in, and he takes out 2 members of 3 count. Evan hits twisting splash on Yang and tried to pin him, but Cass came in and kicked the ever-loving shit out of Evan.
He sure did.
I just think everyone hates Evan Courageous, Logan. Like, I think that's what it
that was a
boils.
receipt from some shit. That there was something personal behind that one.
Yeah, like, you know, it's bad when I'm like, damn, he kicked the shit out of him, and Logan's like, yes, he did.
He really did.
I was like, fuck. But then Shannon comes in and hits a super kick to Kaz. Yang slams Evan, and Cass and Yang go to the top rope. And Yang tried to hit a splash, but Shannon crotches both of them as they're both on the top rope. I don't know what they were going to do. It looked pretty dope. Then Shannon runs in the ring, but it's bait for Jamie Sun, and they hit a triple team face buster and pin Jamie Sun, who was not the legal man, which pisses me and Logan off, and they win. And we'll stop right here, Logan, so we can talk about what happens next. But this was a fun match. I really liked it. I hope we see more of the Young Dragons on 3 count. We have missed 3 count. We're at 3 count marks. Yeah. Just a fun match. And like I said, hearken to Nitros of old.
Yeah, this is a match for this was a sight for sore eyes, this match. Just in the fact that it was a cool, fun, quick, fast-paced cruiserweight match. Like, the cruiserweight matches we've been kind of subjected to over the last, little while is a lot of the artists or Taff Cappy, whatever you want to call him. Like, he's very slow. And even when Candido came in, like, Candido's a good wrestler, but like, he's not the most exciting guy in the world. So this kind of takes you back to cruiserweights of old. We've been kind of dealing with like what I would say is more like the light heavyweight division that was in WWE, which was kind of just smaller guys and not necessarily like quick, fast-paced guys. But yeah, this was definitely a sight for sore eyes. I thought the triple team, like X Factor, Facebuster, we're going to call it, that they won with was pretty cool. But yeah, I hope we continue to see the Young Dragons and 3 count on a consistent basis. I know they obviously have a pay-per-view match somewhere down the line, so I'm assuming they'll still be on TV somewhat consistently throughout that time, but we'll see. But yeah, more cruiserweight matches like this and less like what we've seen so far.
I just want more of this, and it was awesome. And speaking of awesome, Logan, 3 count is dancing in the ring celebrating, and the unknown person runs through the crowd. And
if I could be serious for a moment.
Damn right. And it's Lance Storm. He hits a missile drop kick to Shane Helms and then takes out all 3 members of 3 count in quick succession. My note here is let's fucking go. Lance goes back out through the crowd. I do remember hating Lance Storm with what he does this summer, which means I'll probably enjoy it now, Logan, because I was a Mizak back then.
Yeah, I definitely I've been wondering when he's going to come in, because I know obviously we have the Extreme Three-Way dance that airs on the North-South Connection that has some of our buddies on it. But obviously they seem to enjoy Lance Storm towards the end of his run there, so I've been kind of looking forward to him showing up here. So good to see him finally show up. And I'm interested to see kind of where his character and his matches kind of go from here, because I definitely think he could be a really awesome addition to the roster.
Yeah, I'm interested as well, Logan, because we have lost the workmanship that we had with when we had the Revolution. The guys that became the Radicals. So it'd be good to have some workers in here. And I know that's just one, but we'll see what we can do. So
anything's an improvement.
Yes, exactly. And we go from an amazing wrestler to one of the worst wrestlers of all time, as we see David looking for Daphne backstage. We see that Goldberg's late ass has arrived. We get a commercial. Tanea is interviewing Horace and asks if he's crazy. Horace says he's never been more determined in his life. It's the last week he saw his uncle being taken out on a stretcher. And then I was like, Horace rambles for a little bit and says, if you think I take a bullet for Hogan, you're crazy. And then says he's the one that's going to be firing bullets right at Goldberg, which made no fucking sense. I literally just put, what? So, Logan, what'd you think of Horace's rambling? Rambling Horace Hogan.
He definitely seemed very lost in this whole situation. So Not the best promo, without a doubt. And not exactly excited for him to be a big part of the episode, but hopefully with what happens in his match, maybe he'll be written off for a while.
Lord willing, or fired.
Yeah.
So
I think as long as, well, I guess never mind. I was gonna say as long as his uncle's there, I think he's safe, but that might not be too much longer either.
yes, so he's got to drop for another 2 more weeks. No, actually 3 weeks, because fucking they have like these long builds. Bash of the Beach is 20 weeks away, guys. So we'll get there in November.
It's 20 weeks away.
20 days. Sorry, 20 days.
Oh, I thought you said 20 weeks.
I did say 20 weeks, but yes,
Oh.
20 days away. So
we may not be alive when that happens.
So that's 6. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit.
It's gonna be.
So Big Vito's music hits, and he comes out with a cane and a kendo stick. We saw how he beat Terry Funk last week on Nitro, and then on Thunder, where he beat down Johnny the Bull. The music just continues, and out comes Johnny the Bull, because they don't have different music. So match 2 is the Mama Luke's Implosion, which is Johnny the Bull versus Big Vito in a hardcore title match. Vito attacks Johnny the Bull on the ring apron with the kendo stick. Vito beats Johnny with the kendo stick in the aisleway. Vito's still wearing the title. And Vito just continues beating Johnny in the aisleway. Then he takes off the belt and hits Johnny with it. Vito hits a chop to Johnny's throat. Johnny reverses an Irish whip and sends Vito into a bunch of trash cans. Whatever. Johnny then tried to hit Vito with a safety barricade, but Vito kicked the safety barricade into him. They battle backstage. Vito hits Johnny with a trash can. This has just been a squash right now. Vito's just whooping Johnny's ass. Vito picks up a laptop, hits Johnny with it, and then Vito throws Johnny into some chairs. Vito throws Johnny and then through piece of drywall that they had found. Johnny's able to recover and throws Vito into some pipes, and then he throws Vito into a big trash can. Johnny starts beating Vito with a mop handle. Then they get on some scaffolding, and Vito hits a jumping DDT on Johnny through a table, and it's over. This was just basically outside like the 30 seconds that Johnny had, like Squash City. We're seeing Vito as like the king of the hardcore division right now, which I don't hate.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. This was awesome. I really enjoyed watching Vito beat the shit out of Stamboli for some reason. But yeah, Vito's been a really good hardcore champion so far. Him and Funk's stuff from last week was really, really great. So I think this is kind of his style. I think this is kind of his niche and where he should probably be for at least a little bit. He's somebody we've enjoyed so far, and that continued here because I really thought this was great. They battled around. They used the props that were kind of available to them to good use and all that. So. I thought this was great, honestly.
Yeah, like Mama Luke's, we love them as a tag team when they debuted with Tony Marinara, and we still love them now, Logan. That in the wall. So we go backstage and we see Cat in his office, and he finds Scott Hall's contract. We see Johnny the Bull being carried away backstage, and then Terry Funk comes up to him and starts carrying him himself. Says, "I'm gonna help you and take care of him." So it looks like we might have Terry Funk and Johnny the Bull being not a tag team, but at least maybe friends. And Terry's going to take him under his wing to hopefully beat Big Vito. So interesting take on this feud. We see Lieutenant Loco looking for MIA backstage, and Ray jumps in and starts beating him. Then Tap Cappy comes and starts getting some punches on Lieutenant Loco. G.I. Bro runs after both and scares both of them off. And we see that G.I. Bro goes back to check on Lieutenant Loco. We take a commercial break, and sorry.
No, you're good.
My apologies, gang. My phone decided it was going to crap out. But we say G.I. Bro talking to MIA, and it says time to get serious. G.I. Bro says Hogan is hurt, DDP is left, the Sting is burnt, and Flair is retired. G.I. Bro then promotes Captain Rection to General Rection and says he's got big business to take care of. And then he looks around at everyone and says, "You can take care of this person. You can take care of this person. You can take care of this person." They all say they can. And he says, "We got to take out these suckers, talking about Canyon. And then right on cue, Positively Canyon comes out, and he's still dressed like DDP with the wig. He's amazing. Canyon says, "Cut my music, monkey. They love me, they hate me, they'll never get tired of my new book, Positively Canyon." He said, "It's the kind of book you can't read once, but you got to read it 2 times. 2 times." He's just amazing.
They talk about a book signing that him and Mark Madden were at. I cackled at the.
It was like at a truck stop.
Yeah,
ridiculous. And then this is actually what I sent to our group chat, Logan. He said, "I got up this morning and I gave myself the old self high five." And then Madden Souza says, "Don't do that too much; it'll make you go blind." Then he tells the crowd to shut up, and he goes, "And I read my new book, and it had me real positive, so positive I can't be beaten." And puts out an open challenge to anyone in the back. Says you can feel the bang. GI Bros music hits, and I counted this as a match, even though there's no ref. So before we start with this, Logan, I didn't anticipate the MIA segment going the way it did. Like, I know it says like this is what we talked about, guys, but it never felt like the GI Bro. He just felt he was a loosely affiliated, not that he was the leader, right? I didn't take it as that.
Yeah, I never felt like he was the leader per se, but yeah, this pretty much said like, you guys aren't worth my time anymore. I'm gonna go be a main eventer, and try to take this company back from these idiots that are trying to run it. But yeah, what was Rection before? I thought he was always a general.
No, he was Captain Rection.
Was he captain? Okay.
Yeah, so he was captain. So I made sure in my notes to call him like captain because I know it became general, which is so fucking dumb that I'm like trying to censor myself on my own podcast just so it keeps up. But that's the way my brain works.
Yeah. Makes sense. But yeah, I couldn't remember if he was not previously that, but that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, just crazy. And Canyon's awesome. I love him. He does the little lean in the corner like DDP super well. He has that down pat pretty well. But yeah, he's killing it so far with this, fake DDP situation.
Yeah. It's amazing. He's like, yeah, and I love this was a couple weeks ago where he's talking to Madden. He's like, "I got a book signed with Mark Madden," and Scott goes, "You going to that?" And Madden goes, "I guess I am now."
I mean, I guess it's because he's kind of a comedy goof, but like it still amazes me to this day that he didn't get to a bigger point in this company.
Yeah, it's so upsetting. Yeah, it's so upsetting. But maybe if the company lasted a little bit longer, we would see something. But I don't think so with the influx of talent that was rumored to come in, and that we already had like new guys that were on the cusp. So it's just a sad what if. I've spent too much time thinking about what if WCW lives, Logan. That in Starrcade 97
may hurt you.
It did. It does. But so I count this as a match because he made the open challenge, even though there's no ref or anything. But whatevs, it's my podcast. Match 3, Canyon versus GI Bro. Canyon jumps GI Bro when he gets in the ring, and then Canyon sends GI Bro in the ropes, but GI Bro hits a flying forearm to Canyon. And I think that's the quickest I've ever seen GI Bro / Booker T move when he jumped across and hit that fucking forearm to Canyon. Logan, it was like he was shot out of a rocket, like he knew something was going on. GI Bro punches Canyon, then hits a scissor kick, and then he hits a flapjack, and then hits a spinneroonie, and then the axe kick. Canyon bails from the ring. GI Bro takes off his gear, and it now appears he's now Booker T. That's what we hinted at the start of the podcast, because he strips off his army fatigues and he has the Booker T gear. I guess with Harlem Heat 2000 gone, he even got the T back in his name because he was Booker there for a little bit. Logan, what do you think of this, and what do you think of Booker T maybe making that next step? We'll have to see how the next couple of weeks goes.
Yeah, definitely interested to see. Like I kind of was talking about earlier. Another guy to kind of throw in that Nash and Steiner camp to, kind of maybe attack the upper portions of this new blood stable that still exists. So good to see somebody like him getting a shot to do something like that. Because obviously him and Steiner before this were never main eventers or anything like that. They were kind of upper mid carders, but this is good to see them kind of getting a shot to kind of ascend up the card. And yeah, it wasn't really a match. There was never a ref. I don't think a bell ever rang, and they just kind of fight for a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, I think Booker's a good wrestler. I think Kenya's a good wrestler. So them together has got to come with something good. So I think that could definitely be a match that could be interesting.
Yep. So, like I said, I'm not sure what happens. I was not watching WCW at this point. This is all brand new to me, gang. So we go backstage, and David's still looking for Daphne, and he finally finds her, says we have to talk. Daphne says, I have nothing to say to you, and slaps him. We see Horace getting ready, and he's mumbling, saying Goldberg this and Goldberg that. We see Goldberg watching Horace talking shit, and I'm watching Goldberg watch Horace talk shit, which is Inception. Get a commercial break. Horace is out now. We see Goldberg beating Hogan's ass last week, which I enjoyed. We see Nash and Scott talking. Nash said we got to follow the rules, and Scott says, "When do we care about the rules?" Good point.
Very good point.
Goldberg's out next, and we got match 4, Horace versus Goldberg. Goldberg gets in the ring, and Horace hits him with a big boot and actually starts beating him down, which I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? And then Goldberg hits Horace with a stiff clothesline, and he pounds on him, and the ref breaks it up. Goldberg throws Horace out of the ring, and then Goldberg's just kicking his ass around the ring. Goldberg picks Horace up and drops him rib first from the guardrail. And Goldberg goes to punch Horace, but Horace ducks, and Goldberg punches the ring post. Horace grabs a chair and starts beating Goldberg with the said chair. Horace throws Goldberg in the ring and sends him into the ropes and hits a big boot like he's Hulk Hogan, but Goldberg gets up and just fucking kills Horace with a spear. Goldberg hits a jackhammer and it's over. Goldberg then starts choking out Horace, and Horace passes out. So despite Horace getting some offense, this was like the Goldberg ass whooping we needed to see, Logan. And it shows him being brutal, beating his ass after the match.
Yeah, like I kind of said earlier, it's never bad to see somebody with the last name Hogan get their ass kicked. But yeah, Goldberg absolutely crushes him here. Basically, the only offense Horace gets is because Goldberg was kind of stupid enough to punch the ring post when Horace ducked. Gets a few chair shots in, but other than that, gets absolutely creamed. I love that Goldberg kind of no sells the big boot that he gets hit with, and then it's spear jackhammer done. It's kind of what I wrote in my notes. And then yeah, Goldberg being a little ruthless after the match, locking in a choke, kind of choking him out with some submission. So I thought that was a pretty cool little thing to add to his game. But yeah, I will never be sad when I see a Goldberg squash. So really good stuff.
Yes, very good, very good. We see Kevin and Scott talking in the back. Kevin says, "Scott, save your energy and pace yourself." As Kevin versus Cat is next. We see Cat walking backstage, and he's handcuffed himself to Scott Hall's contract, which is in a briefcase. We get a commercial break. Cat is out, and he has a mic. Cat says, "If you people can shut the hell up, I can get on with what I want to talk about." I guess this was a thing in 2000, Logan, with them telling the crowd to shut the hell up to get easy heel heat. We've seen it 4 times already tonight, and we'll see it more. Just real bad.
Yep.
He says, "Nash, I got something you want in this briefcase," and says, "You need to come to me." Says he's going to break Nash apart, which made me laugh. Cat says, "Hit my music," and he starts dancing and walking around the ring. He hands the handcuffs to Madden in the briefcase. Madden is not happy with this. Wolfpack music hits, and out comes Nash. Madden says, "Scott, if you can hear this, you can come get it. You can come get it. I'll give you the contract." And the ring is around Cat's neck. So this is match 5, Cat versus Kevin Nash for Scott Hall's contract. Cat acts like he's going to throw the key in the crowd, and he spins it around. And I was laughing, like, imagine because when I spin shit around in my hand, that shit flies off after a little bit, Logan. So I was like laughing my ass off if like that key went into the crowd, like what the hell they would do. This is a company that fucking spilled red blood all over the fucking front row. So
Yeah,
nothing's out of the realm of possibility.
and completely missed a human being with said red blood.
Yeah,
and they were in the ring. So
yes, so like it's not without the realm of possibility. So Nash hits Cat with a clothesline and then hits the knees in the midsection of the Cat and then elbows him. Cat bails and he signals for people to come down. He gets on the mic and tells people to come down, but they don't. Nash beats Cat around the ring. Cat grabs Madden and says, I'm waving the white flag before Nash just hits him. And then like they get in the ring, and then Cat hits Nash in the nuts, and then hits him again. He kicks Nash a bunch in the corner. Nash hits Cat with the clothesline. He hits a powerbomb on Cat, and it's over. He wins the contract, and he grabs the key. Nash goes and unlocks the briefcase, but when he opens the briefcase, it's just promo pictures of the Cat. And we'll talk about what happens next because it's spoiler alert. It's my winner for most absurd. So Logan, what do you think? This was just a nothing match. Cat's just like a comedy figure. Thank God he didn't get any like offense in on him. So,
yeah, I was happy that Cat didn't get very much offense here. Gets the quick low blow early, and obviously does a little bit of something, but Nash pretty easily destroys him and wins easily. I love the jackknife, so anytime I get to see that, it's a good time. So. But yeah, this is exactly what it needed to be. Hopefully this is the last time we see the Cat for the night, but probably not. based on how it's been going, but yeah, always fun to see Nash squash somebody.
Yeah, I love it so much. So this is when it gets bad, guys. Almost made me think Russo was back. So Nash gets back in the ring. We see Goldberg on the Turnatron and says, I got your girlfriend's contract right here. And said, if you got the nuts, you can come get it at Bash at the Beach. And then he eats the contract.
That was so weird.
Just crinkles it up like it's a sausage ball and tosses that bitch in his mouth.
Yep. I was very uncomfortable with that idea, but
just all of it. And then Nash races after Goldberg in the back, I guess, to watch him shit out the paper. I don't know.
Yeah, at a certain point, what are you going to do with that? I mean, what's it good for?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right. Yeah.
Shift's guest has been flabbered.
Yeah, it momentarily broke my brain. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so we get a commercial break. We get a Tenay with Nash. Goldberg says and he says Goldberg controls Scott's contract. Okay. Nash says he will save Hall's contract and says he's the only person who has ever beaten Goldberg, which I thought was a nice little history note. Scott Steiner then shows up and says, in Jarrett's mind, he's the chosen one. I'm a genetic freak in the launcher's arms. Who's to say I'm not the chosen one? Jeff Jarrett, kiss my ass. Just give this man all the fucking titles. Just literally give him all the fucking titles.
Give it to him now.
I don't understand. I know why they didn't, because he's a fucking lunatic during this time. But they should have given him all the titles.
Yes, he is actually an insane person, but he's our insane person, so.
Yeah, right? I'm just like, yeah, man, like, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. So, then the Filthy Animals music comes out. Scott Hudson actually calls Slim Shady Disco Shady, and that pops Madden because he's like, oh, that's a good one, Scott. So, got something out of me. Hoobie's on commentary. Conan says, where my dog's at. We find out Ray is facing Lieutenant Loco. Conan says the Misfits in action is sackless. And then Hoobie says, Conan says, Artist is going to try and wrestle. Says, watching him wrestle is like dancing with your sister. Everyone just fucking hates the artist. They bury this motherfucker in every goddamn fucking thing. It's
He
just,
is as boring as sin. I can't blame him, but
I know.
damn, just bury the motherfucker on.
Like nothing
Live
tops
TV.
like Hoovy being like, "Oh, this jabroni can't do it. He can't." And I'm like, Jesus, man. All right, relax, brother.
We get it.
Yeah. So Misfits and Anston come out. Hoovy says Misfits and Anston, this is a new jabroni order and they suck. Says they don't have any talent and they suck. Hoovy says him and Ray created the cruiserweight division and it should be called the juicy weight division. And they should be called juicerweights. I don't know if I could say any of those words, but
that's
like,
offensive.
yeah, that's what he said. He's like, they should be the juicerweights, baby. Prince's music hits. He comes out. I didn't know that fucking Paisley was still in the company. Here we are. So this is match 5 for the cruiserweight title. The Artist versus Lieutenant Loco versus Ray. Prince beats on Lieutenant Loco in the aisleway and throws him in the ring. Ray hits a running leg drop and tries for a pin, but Prince breaks it up. Ray and Prince trade punches. Artist hits a sit-down powerbomb on Ray, and Lieutenant Loco hits a frog splash on Ray and gets a 2. Lieutenant Loco is back dropped out of the ring. Ray and Prince fight. Prince is out of the ring by Ray. Lieutenant Loco throws Prince back in the ring. But Lieutenant Loco goes up top, but Prince crotches him on the turnbuckle. But Prince walks into a spin kick from Ray. Ray then hits the Bronco Buster on Prince and then climbs the top rope and tries a Super Hurricane Rana on Lieutenant Loco. But Lieutenant Loco knocks Ray off and he hits the rope and he crotches himself on the ropes. Lieutenant Loco then hits a tornado DDT on Prince and gets the win. I was shocked that he retained. I'm shocked that this match went by so quick. And before we get to the aftermath, Logan, this was just a nothing match. Like, these guys were just kind of wasted.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a match that probably had some possibilities as soon as Taff Kappa gets introduced into the match, because if it had been Loco versus Ray, I think it probably could have been something, but as soon as Taff Kappa gets thrown in there, it's going to be dulled down a little bit because he's just, like I said, he's as boring as dirt. I did like the power bomb he did on Ray at one point. I thought that was pretty good. And I thought the tornado DDT at the end was pretty solid. So, but yeah, a match that probably should have been more, ended up kind of being one of the worst matches of the night. So, but yeah, maybe just do Chavo and Ray, which me saying that is kind of shocking because their matches in WWE make me want to pull my eyeballs out for the most part. But they're a little younger, a little less broken down at this point, so maybe had some possibility of being pretty good. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's a little rough. Speaking of a little rough, all the girls just start fighting after the match for no reason, and all the guys are like just holding them up. And I thought this would trigger a massive brawl. It doesn't. It's literally the girls just trying to fight each other. It's so bad. We then, for some reason, get a replay of the girls fighting, which we should have got a replay of that tornado DDT because it was sweet. But yeah, we don't. It's bad.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad, we go backstage to see David trying to get Daphne back. She appears to take him back. We get a commercial break. David and Daphne are leaving. David tells Daphne to go back to the hotel room and get stuff ready. He lets her off to her car, and we see when he turns around that her car stops, which I'm just like, they fucked that up. But no. We see David walking, and he runs into Miss Hancock, and they start kissing. And I wrote that hoe beside David just because he gets to kiss Miss Hancock. And then we see Daphne watching David and Miss Hancock kissing. So obvious foreshadowing. Perfect Event comes out. Out next is Tank Abbott and Rick Steiner. Match 6 is the Perfect Event versus Tank Abbott and Rick Steiner for the tag titles. We see how Perfect Event, Tony tells us Perfect Event are the tag champs, but haven't won a title yet. So I haven't won a match yet because they won by
they won the title by disqualification.
By disqualification. Thank you, Logan. So we see that. So we see the highlights of the problems between Rick and Tank Abbott from Great American Bash and Last Thunder with some miscommunication at Thunder, and Rick taking the bullet for Scott at the Great American Bash. Tank and Sean start. Sean pounds on Tank, and then Tank picks Sean up and just slams him. Rick tags him and punches Sean. Rick sends Sean to the ropes and just fucking kills him with the Steiner line. This gets 2. Rick hits a belly to belly, and this gets a 1 count because Chuck broke up the pin. Sean's able to tag to Chuck, and Chuck punches Rick. Chuck then runs like he's going to close on Rick, but Rick catches him and just slams him to the ground and hits an elbow drop. Tank, I guess, is talking shit to a fan, and the fan does something to him, and Tank just chases after the fan and leaves the ring side area. Rick is by himself. Chuck and Sean double team Rick on the outside. They throw him into the guardrail. Rick fights back, but the numbers game catches up. Rick is thrown in the ring, and they continue to be double teamed. He tries to fight back with punches, but is unsuccessful. They send him into the ropes, and he actually kicks Chuck and clotheslines Sean. He hits a belly to belly on Chuck and gets 2. And then Rick just fucking drops Chuck on his back of his head with a release German suplex. It was disgusting.
Yep. Sure was.
God damn. And while this is happening, Sean had slid a Lex Flexor to Chuck. They're still using that. Sean distracts the ref. Rick actually comes off the top rope, but Chuck hits Rick with the Lex Flexor, and then the Perfect Event hit a double pancake on Rick, and they win. So they celebrate after the match. This was actually kind of a fun match, maybe for Rick just beating the ever-loving piss out of these people. So, yeah, Logan, what do you think of this?
Yeah, for the simple fact of the suplexes that fucking Rick threw all around the ring. A solid match. Maybe not just the best of all time or anything like that, but certainly a solid match nonetheless. But I don't know if it was foreshadowing or anything like that, but the sign that Tank tears up, it says 3 count sucks.
So that is foreshadowing. Yes.
I like I said, yeah. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if that was just something that they happened into or whatever. But he definitely turns up a sign that says 3 count sucks. And then obviously he goes after the guy. They beat down Rick a good bit before he kind of gets those couple of suplexes in. The belly to belly he hit was also really nasty, but definitely the German. Release German was pretty sick. So, but yeah, the Lex Flexor still being used seems kind of weird, especially if there's kind of like no intention of bringing Lex back, because obviously that's kind of what Russo threw the tizzy about. And I actually don't think we see Lex again for a while, so it's kind of weird that they keep using. They're continuing to use that, I should say. But yeah, the double flapjack kind of finishes things off. But good to see the tag champs finally get an actual win. It was by nefarious means, of course, but good to see them actually get a match won.
Yeah. So we go backstage, and part of me wants to die. So actually, Lex should have feuded with fucking Vampiro for burning his best friend.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead, we get this.
Mr. Torborg.
So we see Dale Torborg and Asia talking, and he says it's his fault that you got attacked. They're blaming the demon. He's like, I went to therapy for months, so I don't have to deal with this person anymore. This is part of my personality. So they're saying they're blaming the demon as personality. We see Vampiro watching what just happened. Get a commercial break. Vampiro comes out. He says the demon has split personality disorder. He says Vamp has a mic. And says last week I came across someone who had potential like him, the demon. He thought he could have something in common with him, but now he's going away. So he's going to call out 2 people, Dale, the demon Torborg, and Asia. They come out to the demon's music. Vamp says, cut the music. That's not Dale's music. He's trying to say goodbye to the demon. Vamp says, Dale, it must be tough to let go of something, a part of yourself. Does it feel empty when a part of you goes away? And then the lights go out and Asia is gone. And they're like, where the hell's Asia? The lights go back out and Vamp is gone. And then we go to Turner Vision and we see Vamp in the car backstage and he drives away in a hearse and Dale runs away. Real real bad.
Yeah, not too many misses on this episode, but this is definitely one of them. I just don't think Vampiro's got it, and Demon is certainly not the person to bring it out of him. But yeah, this is a miss. Not good whatsoever. And both of these guys could go away tomorrow, and no one would miss them.
Nope, not at all. And it's insane that they they put him over Sting. They put him over Sting, and they dropped the ball that much immediately. Like, Jesus Christ. So
yeah, this is putting someone over somebody without any plans of what you're going to do going forward, because they had nothing for Vampiro coming off of that, and they very clearly put him over pretty strong in that situation. So it's pretty disappointing to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's real bad. So we go backstage. We see Scott and Medeja working out. We see the Triple Threat walking backstage. We see Buff and Chronic walking as well. We get a commercial break. Triple Threat comes out. We see how they reunited on Thunder. Shane has a mic. This is Billings, Montana. Take a look at true greatness. Says we ain't taking seconds anymore. We're taking what's deserved of us. And says my boys want tag titles. So Chris and Bam Bam are coming after the tag belts. Shane makes fun of Buff and says, cheer now. Yeah, he kind of sucks. I know he was washed here, but like,
oh yeah, he's
horrible. Sure. Shane makes fun of Buff. He says, cheer now, because of Bash the Beach and I will dance all night long. Any type of match he wants, because his ass will get franchised. Buff's music hits, and he actually comes out, and when he's pointing at his like when he's doing his dance, when those pyro hits, he actually busts his ass. I don't know if you noticed that, Logan. Yeah, he fell down.
I did notice.
It's like, you fucking moron. So Chronic is out next. This is a Triple Threat versus Chronic and Buff Bagwell. Shane and Brian Clark started off. We get a collar and elbow tie up, and Brian Clark chops Shane and sends him into the ropes. Shane gets a drop kick. Shane goes up top, but Brian Clark throws him off the top ropes, then hits a rock bottom, Uranagi, whatever you want to call it. Clark tags to Adams, and they hit a double elbow. Adams blocks a punch, has a full Nelson slam. This gets a 2 count. We get a tag to Buff, and Franchise runs over and tags Bigelow. Bam Bam beats down Buff, who would win after Franchise, so he was able to get the work on him. Bigelow hits a headbutt, then hits a running splash. We get a tag to Shane, and Shane kicks Buff and rakes his eyes. Shane beats down Buff in the corner and chokes him, and like grabs his mouth, and like is like fish hook in his mouth. Shane hits 3 suplexes, and the last one is a brain buster. This gets a 2 count. Shane taunts Chronic. Buff hits a DDT on Shane, and both men are down. Shane tags to Bam Bam, and Brian Clark is tagged in. Chronic takes out Shane, and then Bam Bam hits a double DDT on Chronic, and Bam Bam hits a Samoan drop on Buff. Chronic then takes out Bam Bam and hits the high times on him. Adams attacks Shane. The ref is distracted by this, and Candido, who gets in for the first time, who I didn't add, Logan, has a broken wrist and is in a sling, hits Clark with a baton. Clark no sells this. He tags to Buff. Both the Chronic goes after Chris. Buff, and then this is really weird. It's like he was out of position right here. Buff went for a blockbuster, but Bam Bam hits an atomic drop. Then Buff like just kicks him in the stomach after this. Then he tries again and hits the blockbuster for the win. So it's like, what the fuck? So Shane beats down Buff after the match. Chronic then runs back out and saves Buff. Just very weird. It's like they were out of position.
Very,
like,
very weird.
Buff, like sure. have a different finishing move if it's that. Like if you can't do if you have to be in perfect position. Like it just blew my mind with that.
Yeah.
So this was a nothing match. Wait, they act like the Triple Threat in WCW, but then they fucking lose their first match.
Yeah. I also thought it was very stupid of Douglas to challenge Buff to a match at the pay-per-view and give Buff the opportunity to name the stipulation. I guess he's so confident that he's going to beat his ass that it doesn't matter, but I thought that was really stupid. But Candido must have a boner or really bad luck for wrestling these matches while he has slings and or braces on his body, because obviously he has the famous SummerSlam '96 Fatal 4-Way where he's wrestling the match with the neck brace on. He never actually gets in, which he doesn't get in here either. But why even throw him on the apron if he has a fucking sling on? He was never going to get into the match. Obviously, it's somewhat of a ploy a little bit, but still just stupid to have him out there clearly injured. But yeah, the blockbuster stuff at the end is definitely weird, for sure. Like, it doesn't have to be hit perfectly every time, and nobody's expecting you to be like this technical marvel buff, so you really don't have to worry about hitting it exactly perfect or anything like that. But yeah, that definitely put a damper on the end of the match for sure.
Yeah, it was real bad. Thankfully, we actually so then we see Jeff and Mike walking backstage. We see Scott walking, go to commercial break. Cat's music hits. Out comes Cat and Mike Awesome. Jeff Jarrett is out next. Cat says on commentary that Nash wanted his autograph, and then Cat says he hates Scott. Scott's music hits, and Cat says, "Hold on, I'll take care of some business." Scott has the mic, and this is verbatim, guys. And he has the mic and says, Cat, as commissioner, you're supposed to make the match as exciting as possible. So I'm here to tell you that you suck. If I was commissioner, since I'm standing with the most beautiful girl in the ring, I'd make a panties on a pole match or a freak on a leash match. You catch her, you got to spread them. Says he's going to make his own stipulations, and Jeff attacks him. I don't know what a freak on a leash match and I don't know what any of that means, guys. Sounds like rape.
Sounds like not something we should probably support.
Yeah. So just insane.
But God bless Scott Steiner at the same time.
English language just
insane.
destroys him. Yes. God. Yeah, just real bad. So match 8, Jeff Jarrett versus Scott Steiner for the world title. Mike Awesome was special ref. Jeff starts punching Scott, and then he kicks him. Jeff's thumbing a mud hole in old Scotty boy. Scott reverses an Irish whip, and Jeff's baseball slides underneath of him, but Scott hits an atomic drop and then a tilt-a-roll slam. He yells at Mike Awesome as he does this. Then he hits Jeff with the Steiner line and hits an elbow drop and does his push-ups. Scott kicks Jeff in the corner. Scott catches Jeff in the corner as Jeff tried to go behind him and runs him back first in the turnbuckle. Then, still holding on to him, drops him throat first on the rope. Then clotheslines him out of the ring. Madden asks if Cat waived the no interference rule for the match. Cat says there will be no interference. Jeff grabs Scott by his feet and pulls him out of the ring. Jeff sends Scott in the guardrail and starts beating with a chair. He jabs Scott in the throat with the chair. Jeff throws Madeja in the ring, which Cat says, "Get that hoochie out of here." And they're like, "She's a freak, not a hoochie." Then Madeja jumps on Jeff's back. This allows Scott to hit Jeff with the chair. Cat said, "Didn't I say no interference?" Madden says, "Freaks don't count," which fucking tickled me fucking pink, Logan, with he's like, just how quick freaks don't count. So dumb. So then Scott throws Jeff in the crowd, as Logan has ruined this for me. Every match that Jeff Jarrett does, he has to brawl in the crowd.
My first note.
Yes. Scott throws water in Jeff's face, and they fight through the crowd, and you can see other fans picking up their drinks so they can't get water that can't be thrown in their face. Don't know if you caught that, Logan. Some fans were like, "Fuck this. I paid $4, $12 for this drink. Fuck them.
I paid way too much for this shit." Nope.
Yeah. So they literally like ball in like a U, and they make it back to the arena, ringside apron, and then Scott throws him back in there, and he slams Jeff face first on the steps. Scott throws Jeff in the ring, but Jeff reversed the Irish whip. Jeff went for the drop kick, but Scott holds onto the ropes. Scott catapults Jeff in the turnbuckle, and then Scott does a military press to slam to Jeff. Scott tried for a suplex, but Jeff reversed, hit Scott in the nuts. Cat says he taught Jeff that when he was a white belt, which fucking popped me. Jeff stomps Scott. Jeff tried to send Scott to the turnbuckle, but Scott reversed it and charged Jeff, but he ate a boot from Jeff. Jeff gets on the middle rope, hits an axe handle on Scott. He goes to the middle rope again and hits a double axe handle on Scott's head. Then he goes for another time and tries again, but Scott catches him and hits that fucking beautiful belly to belly. No, it was about to hit the belly to belly, but Jeff pokes him in his eyes and hits a back suplex. Jeff picks up Scott and sends him to the ropes and gets a sleeper hold on him. Scott fights out, but Jeff's able to cinch in the sleeper hold again. Scott fights out, hits a vertical suplex now. Both men are down. Awesome. Starts counting for both men. He's been 50-50 ref here. Both men are up at 8. Jeff tried to punch Scott, but Scott blocked it and punches him. Scott hits a power slam and gets 2. He yells at Mike Awesome about the count, which wasn't really slow, but this is Scott Steiner. Everything's slow to him. Scott gets his foot on Scott gets a foot on Jeff and then hits a belly to belly and gets 2. He argues again about this. Jeff kicks Scott and goes for the stroke, but Scott reverses it. Scott puts the Steiner recliner on Jeff. Cat gets on the mic and says it's illegal. Break the hold. He throws a chair in the ring and Awesome hits Scott in the back with the chair. Jeff pins Scott and he only gets 2 count from this. Jeff and Awesome then start beating down Scott. Scott hits a double clothesline. And Jeff gets out of the ring. Scott suplexes Awesome and puts him in the Steiner recliner. This allows Jeff to hit Scott with a guitar and pin him. Jeff wins. And we'll talk about the after the match here. I actually like this match, Logan. I know it's a Jeff Jarrett brawl, but this was a fun match. We knew we were going to have some fuckery. It just sucks that it happened like that.
No, yeah, I actually did enjoy it as well. It predictably went to the crowd, but I think these guys have some chemistry that could be interesting in the future. Obviously, I think both of these guys remain kind of at the top of the card throughout the remainder of the pod that we're going to do. So definitely looking forward to maybe them mixing it up again. Like you said, there was guaranteed fuckery with, Awesome being the ref and all that kind of stuff. It was going to happen. Cat was on commentary, so shit was going to go down at some point. But the stuff in between, I think, ended up going pretty well. So I definitely enjoyed the work that they put in here. And I was kind of shocked. I wasn't expecting it, but I definitely came out on the other side and was satisfied.
Yep, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. I wish we'd see more, but I'm pretty sure they're both aligned as heels. So this is probably the last match we'll see between them, honestly. Because I'm not sure when Scott turns heel, but I know he's the heel at the end of WCW, and so is Jeff. So, and they're aligned with Planet Jarrett and the in TNA, so as well. Yep. We've already seen that, but I think we'll see it again. Well, not Planet Jarrett, but like them being aligned with each other. But Cat then says he's going to whip Scott's ass and is about to kick him, but Scott gets up and suplexes Cat and puts him in the Steiner recliner. Awesome and Jeff come back in, and Scott beats both of them down. Then Goldberg comes in and he kills Scott with a spear. Nash runs down and he starts fighting all 3 of them, but Goldberg bails and the show ends with Nash leering at Goldberg. So Goldberg is getting paid easy fucking money to do absolutely jack and shit, Logan.
Yeah.
Show up late, barely eat some fucking paper, and we're fine. But yeah, just a hot ending.
Yeah, deliver a couple of spears, and just like so very casually get out of the ring when like Nash is charging at you. They didn't plan that one very well because
nope.
Nash was like all up on him and it like isn't swinging at him at all. So, and Goldberg's just kind of like so casually like, oh, I'll get out of the ring now, I guess. But we were desperately out of time before anything can happen. So, unfortunately, we didn't see any more of the brawl. But, yeah, I am kind of looking forward to. I mean, obviously we've seen Goldberg and Nash already, but a more extended version is something I think needs to happen sooner rather than later. So we'll see what goes on with that.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what's going on with that. But that brings us into another episode, Logan. Most absurd. I put Scott Hall's contract. Nonsense.
Yeah, that and the Demon and Vampiro feud still going.
Yes. What was good? I said the show flew by. It was a fun show.
Yeah.
Just flew by.
Yeah, main event was really good. The cruiserweight trios match was really good. So,
yes. What was bad? David Flair.
Yeah. Like I said, the Demon and Vampiro stuff was bad, but yeah, David Flair and Daphne seemingly reuniting and then immediately like going right back against each other again. So seemed kind of pointless.
Yes. So I got 7 matches tonight. 3 clean finishes, 4 non-clean non-finishes, 0 pole matches, 5 pole matches total. I'm a little upset with that one, guys. We're at 3 gimmick matches, which brings us to a total of 175 gimmick matches. 1 guitar shot tonight, Logan. We're at 49. We're almost at a guitar shot per episode.
That's insane.
35 different things happened. We're still stuck on 60 title changes. I was promised title changes, Logan. And these things are slowing down. So
they're coming, don't worry.
We might actually catch up with them potentially with shows and title changes. But, I'm going to say we're not smarter than Russo's WCW tonight.
Mostly because it wasn't him.
Exactly.
But yeah, this one was definitely a strong episode. I'd even go as far to maybe actually suggest checking this one out to our fans. I don't think I've said that so far, but yeah, I think I would actually suggest maybe checking this episode out.
I kind of agree with Logan on this one. Yeah, it was a good episode. I would check it out. Don't know how many more we would say to actively check out. But that brings us into another episode of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? I'm Scott Shiflett. He's Logan Crossland. We'll see you in 2 weeks with Thunder. Not written by Russo. We'll see if it's good.
Probably not, but we'll see.